Hello and welcome back to the Cinema Wave podcast. It is I, your host today, Vinny Albano. I am joined with Sean Villa.
What is going on, everybody?
Yes, and Mikey Peniston.
Hello, everyone.
Today we were talking about the new Invincible episode, Season 3, Episode 6. All I can say is I'm sorry. This was a banger episode. I loved it. I want to hear your guys' thoughts.
Tell, dude, you're pumped.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
pumped about this one.
Yeah.
This is good, dude. I agree. This is a good episode.
Yeah, give us your thoughts. Let's just dive right into it.
All right, yeah. All right, so we got Aaron Paul. I'm big on Aaron Paul. And I like that Aaron Paul is doing his, I'm crying voice for the entire episode. He's doing the, someone has to do something. He's just freaking, he's hyped, dude, the whole time.
Yeah.
It gets you amped. We have about, I don't know, dude. There's probably 4 scenes of buildup before he even does anything necessarily. He gets a real origin story here, which makes me think that he'll be a pretty crucial character. I think. I don't know how he goes. I don't have that comic knowledge, but the way that they build him in this episode makes me think that this is a long-term thing because they give him a whole fucking origin story. They give him all this tragedy to deal with. It's voiced by Aaron Paul, who's a powerhouse VA, and. Yeah, dude, I think this is really cool. I'm going to stick to the Powerplex stuff because I do want to talk about that ending, but I'm going to wait until the end when we can get into that. This is overall, I think this is a very cool episode. Mark doesn't get his ass whooped. Fucking finally. Holy shit, finally. Yeah. He actually just tanks a whole bunch of energy at the end. I like that. Rex, best scene he's ever had, dude. I totally get it.
My king.
Yeah.
My king.
Yeah, he has a scene where I was like, all right, dude, Vinny's onto something. Rex is kind of fucking cool. This is a dope scene.
Yeah.
They give him some backstory. I miss Cecil. There you go. That's my spreadsheet of thoughts. This is good. Overall, really cool.
Okay.
Ooh, Mikey?
I agree. This episode was insanely good. I haven't been on the last couple episodes, so I just feel like this season has been really good. I'm pretty content with everything kind of building up to where we're at right now. But this episode for sure, it definitely laid ground for a foundation, I feel like, for the world that we haven't seen affected by these events. And I feel like, because it's like comparing it to an Avengers sort of threat where it's how do the people deal with this? So I feel like it's so cool not only to get a true origin story for the character, but to see finally oh snap, here's somebody that was actually affected by that whole blowout back then, and to see how it really affected and brought him here, and now it's bringing him back to Invincible. So I thought that was just so cool. Aaron Paul is, I agree, also just a powerhouse of a performer. There was so many G's, even down to his laugh is so I don't know, there was a scene where it was just a subtle little laugh that he had, but it was so something about it was just Aaron Paul. And so I really enjoyed the episode. Trying to think, Retz, I feel like Retz has been cool. I haven't really spoke a lot about Retz, but Retz has been cool this season. I know I'm usually not a big Retz guy, but he's been cool. I like the storyline that's going on here. And I also want to shout out Eve. Eve is really, I feel holding things down, especially for Mark, and she's a really cool character this season. And so I'll leave it at that for now.
I echo all of you guys the same thoughts. The ending we'll get to, because it puts it back into the big zooming out and seeing Invincible as a whole and the flaws there might be. But this episode alone, incredible. The character work here is great. The play on morality, and how forming such a great villain. It reminds me of Civil War. It reminds me of Batman versus Superman. You're just taking, like you said, Mikey, how do superheroes affect the common people, and how one event can really twist the minds of people and disturb them. I just loved even the wife and kid element. Even the wife was playing into this, and it was so dark, but you had this sympathy for them. And what a great episode all around.
You
really
bring up
awesome.
a good point about how I think this whole episode in every plot point is sort of about that Omni-Man season 1 finale, because even with Mark and Oliver, they have that which I think might be Oliver's best scene so far, when he's talking to Mark about like if anyone can forgive him, and they're talking about like, well, is he just bad forever because he did that one evil thing? Like I have all these memories of him being like amazing, like you have all those memories, and like you say he's trying now, so it's like, why can't people forgive him or whatever? And again, it's just like one of those questions that's like, it's just the way it is, dude. Like I don't know. They're talking about like all that complexity there. I think that scene's great. But I think like every plot in the episode is dealing with that event. Like this is sort of like almost like a direct follow-up to that event in a way that like we haven't gotten since like the season 2 premiere, where even like Debbie and Paul have that scene where he's like I'm not Omni-Man, dude. Like how am I gonna like fucking live up to that? Like how are you gonna like you know, how's this gonna work between us? Like every single plot is tied to that. Yeah. And I think like that's really interesting that like they somehow managed to get all of these different plots that are kind of going in their own way, except for like maybe like Rex and Ray and Robot and Monster Girl. They kind of have their own thing. But other than that, the whole episode is centered around like the residual effect of this event. And I think that makes it really consistent and cool.
And going off of that too, I just feel like we've been like with these past episodes getting so much of like Omni-Man and like what could be a slight redemption arc, and you see like with him and I always forget the Martian's name. Alan, that's right. But it could be foreshadowing, I feel like, what could be, I don't know, him coming back. And I know like we'll never see like him, like these people forgive him because of what happened, but there could be some sort of change. And I also don't know the comic like this or what's to happen, but I don't know, I just feel like the scene with especially Oliver and everything he was saying, I got some foreshadowing that maybe there's some things going on, even if it's just some more forgiveness coming from Mark. It just something is coming with how they're going back and forth between the dad and them and everything. So
I really enjoyed this episode. I want to something on top of my head that I want to talk about, which is not really about the episode, but as Invincible as a whole, right? We'll skip to the end because it's I feel like it's on all of our minds. Angstorm is revealed. He's alive. We don't know how. Hopefully we get a good reason, if there is a good reason. It just really takes the impact out of his death there. Also, we need a good reason for why he has all the multiverse marks on his side. Because I feel like they wouldn't really give a fuck because they're like in all their own universes, they're like emperors, like, you know what I mean, like these Viltrumite emperors of Earth. So like I don't even know why they would even bother with Angstorm unless but it kind of zooming out, it reminded me of in season 2 the whole Nolan Omni-Man. He had the books, the comic books and the novels that he wrote, and there was like the whole plot line or the whole like hint of like, Mark, read my books, like the answer is in the books. And we have that story of the alien with the gun. I forget, he's like,
I remember what you're talking about.
And he's like super powerful, that gun. And now I'm just like wondering, is Invincible doing too much? Is it because we haven't had a follow-up to that whole plot thread with the novels and the comic books since way in season 2? There hasn't even been a mention of it in season 3, and we're 6 episodes in, and then we have Angstorm coming back. I don't know. I want to hear your guys' thoughts because I'm kind of like all over the place with this.
I agree. I think you're right that it maybe is trying to do too much, but I think that is kind of the nature of the source material. It's like a comic book, so issue by issue we can kind of focus on like a different thing. And I think the way that that's translating into a TV show is a little disjointed. Specifically with the books thing, you're so right. I like completely fucking forgot about that, and that seems really important. And like, where is that? Like, what happened with that? I don't even remember how it resolves because, he starts to read them, right? And then there's like that thing with the guy on the bike with the gun. Did something come of that? I don't even remember. Or he's just like, oh, this is cool.
That's it, really.
All right, so that needs to become something. There's everything with the Viltrumites, so I'm expecting that to come up on Earth again. And now that on its own, that's enough. Good. And then we have some like street level stuff. Now there's Angstrom stuff again, which like, okay. And there's all these like other marks stuff. So, and then we're doing time travel with Immortal. There's different dimensions and shit. I get very like fucking up and down on it, where I'm like, this could be cool, or this could be way too overwhelming, deflate all the stakes, and now there's 800 marks and they're all running around fighting each other. And like, what does this even mean? Like, who even cares? I think the scene could be cool. I don't know what the plan is. If I had to guess, it would be he's going to send all those marks to kill our mark. So if that's the scene, if that's next episode, sure, it'll be a sick episode. But yeah, on a grand scale, I mean, yeah, it's a little all over the place. I kind of want to see them like focus on one thing. Like, let's get like the main story going
before moving on to the next big thing.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And you know, we have Omni-Man to catch back up with. What's he doing? Is he gonna come back? You know, like there's so many things that are like kind of primed to happen. And I feel like the way that this show functions is like a comic book, where it's like, all right, we're gonna set up this thing, we're gonna get like right to the point where it's gonna blow up, and then we're gonna stop. And then you gotta wait 6 fucking episodes, and then it's gonna come back. And that kind of happens with everything, like in increments, until the season finale, and then everything happens all at once, and it's like, oh, you've got to come back for the next season. So I mean, I like it. Like I think it'll be a cool last 2 episodes. I would wager that these next 2 are gonna be fucking awesome. But for the show as a whole, I see where you're like kind of getting some problems. Yeah.
Mikey, do you have any thoughts on that? Or?
Yeah, I agree. First and foremost, it's a lot. I feel like Invincible, like you guys said, has always been a lot of plot points and sometimes plot holes that I don't know we still haven't figured out. And so right now where we're at, it is for sure a lot going on. I don't think that the current plots that we're getting, I don't think they're all going to be resolved by the end of this season, to be honest. Whether it is Aaron Paul's character, what was his name again? Powerplex. Yes. Whether it is maybe like that sort of ending, they could just push that to like a next season. As far as the instrument stuff though, and having all these marts, I agree. That's like another like, wow, okay, we're doing this, I guess. Wow, okay. but I will say though, there was one reason why I did enjoy seeing that. I have no idea what could come with that. I agree. It has to be with something like he's sending them to our mark to kill him or something. The one thing that I did enjoy seeing that team up and what could come was this whole season, I feel like they've been like building Mark up to be like not a villain, but in the eyes of everybody, a threat. And like everyone, and like this last episode really kind of showed like, oh wow, like there are people who like don't like Mark, and like to like see that there are so many people fearing, and then like the whole scene earlier this season with Cecil, where it's like in the room where it's like, no, this room is like to protect me from you, sort of thing. Like little things like that like are hinting that like the people are scared, and if you had a bunch of just marks that are straight up ready to kill, think about like what could happen. And like I don't even know if it's like, it could be a good thing where like maybe our mark, they see our mark fighting off all these marks, and that's like I don't know, it works out, or it could be 10 times worse. But I don't know. It's the idea of what could come with that is what got me really excited with that. I don't know what could come.
That's actually I didn't think of that. I didn't think of that's crazy. If you think about it, because like, yeah, like you're entirely correct. It's if now, you know, people don't like him, and now all of a sudden there's 800 of him, and they're all like more powerful than Omni-Man, and just even more evil than Omni-Man. That's crazy. It's just like, really, I'm only kind of it's really only speculation, but like you said, Sean, it's so cool and the potential is there. I just hope they don't deflate the stakes. Because I feel like recently we've had this habit of it building up to something crazy or something tragic, and then the character is just brought back to life, or like, you know, and then the stakes are just completely gone.
So you know what's interesting about that is when I was watching this episode yesterday, I was watching it with one of my friends who's a comic reader. This is not a spoiler, but it's a difference in the comics. So Ray is dead at this point in the comics. So she gets eaten by that like lizard guy, and then she's just gone. I think that's what he told me. I didn't fact check him, but I have no reason to believe he was lying to me. So that's bizarre to me, because I like Ray. She has some good plots, I guess. I think the thing going on with her and Rex is compelling. But this show, you're right, does not kill anybody. Even the guy, I wasn't here last week, but the guy with the metal jaw in last week's episode that turns into the dragon, why is he alive? Why is his bodyguard alive? who is that guy? Like, who even cares? But, like, we can't kill anybody. No one will die. So, I mean, probably the fucking Mueller twins are going to come back next episode somehow. So, you know, I that is an issue. That's definitely a problem. But what I think, you know, past that, what I think is interesting about this whole Mark thing is I was thinking that this kind of arc of Mark was going to resolve in him getting to the end of this season and being like, you know, kind of like the Batman arc where he's like, I'm not a symbol of fear. Like, I'm a symbol of hope. I got to help people out. This whole thing with the Marks coming in makes me think that this is just going to get worse in next season, which I like that. I think that's cool. I think if we're stretched, because I think this whole arc with him about like people being afraid of him is super compelling. And I think you mirror that. I think like the way we've talked about it is that like this is the most compelling that Mark's stories have been so far. And, you know, if all of these evil Marks come by and now like, you know, one of them tries to like kill Eve and now she's like dating Mark and she's like, yo, listen, like some guy that looked just like you tried to fucking murder me. So like, this is weird now, you know, like that's awesome stuff. Like that could lead to some really cool plot lines. So I hope it goes that way and it's not just like another like multiverse kind of joke episode like the last one was where he's just like, oh, you're in dinosaur world. Oh, you know, it's just like a little ridiculous. But that's it.
Yeah. I know, Mikey, I think you mentioned Adam Eve. She's great this episode.
Yeah.
I really liked her. Honestly, like, I feel like we've talked about it week by week, but the whole relationship between Adam Eve, and Mark is still going strong. I love it. I love to see it. It's so sweet. The chemistry. Oh, the bowling alley scene. That was great. I love that. With Amber and her boyfriend, and now him, Mark and the boyfriend are now like, they're chill. Like that was so sweet. I really enjoyed that.
Dude, why did Mark and Amber have more chemistry in that scene than like their entire fucking relationship? Genuinely, but it is really sweet. It's a cute little scene, and it's like, oh, like they're maturing. This is nice, you know. Character development for Mark on like a human level is nice outside of his like superhero development. So you're right. I appreciate that.
Yeah. I really enjoy it. It's just like, where are they? Obviously, you know, this is speculating. This is not a critique on the show in any way. It's just like, I'm so curious what's going to happen with Adam Eve. Because as of right now, she's very... I mean, her and Mark are kind of in a complacent spot. Mark is obviously getting more development because, you know, there's so many factors happening and he's reacting. And we're seeing how his reactions are very different than how he was in season 1. But Adam Eve, I want to know where she's going to go. She's gonna die. That would be crazy.
That would be crazy.
Crazy tragic. I know, like you said, like if another Mark comes, tries to kill her. I don't know. Do you guys have any theories for Adam Eve or?
I don't know. I think Eve is probably a long-term lady. I think she's been in this like since the pilot. She has her own spin-off episode. If she didn't have that, I might be like, oh, she could die. But I think like she's pretty much number 2 to Mark in the show, and with the show's track record, I don't think they're killing her.
True.
I could see someone that Mark cares about dying, like Rex. That could be a good candidate. You know, or Amber. You know, someone that is like not crucial to the show, but has enough of an impact on Mark that it could send him like kind of off his rocker for season 4. Which I kind of think this is like where this is heading. I think something's gonna happen in these next 2 where he's just like, you know, that's it. Fucking full murder mode. I mean, I could be wrong. He is invincible, you know, so title card. Where, like, you know, he's got the invincible spirit. I think is kind of what the show's trying to be about. It's like, oh, actually, like, he'll never break. So, like, maybe he won't be the crazy person that I think he's going to be. But we'll see. Dude, speaking of which, let's talk about that title card. That's nuts, this episode. What the hell was that? What is that editing? Where it's just like it pops up for like half a frame.
Well, he was saying Invincible.
No, I know. I know what it was doing. But all right. I guess this kind of brings me to a bigger thing I want to talk about, because I did have some issues with the tone of this episode, because I think it's a little all over the place. Because Powerplex, I feel like, is taken super seriously. But then when we have like that weird edit in there, it just like, I was laughing at it, and it's a good laugh. It's like, oh, that's pretty funny. But it does kind of like conflict with the tone of the scene. And then I wanted to talk about something that I think was like I didn't love, which is at the end when they've got like a dead infant shot in this episode. That's like a little nuts to me. I feel like I get what they're doing of like trying to like rub it in like, oh yeah, this is fucking serious. But at the same time, it's like not really. You know, it's like it's not really like the show's not like that serious. It's like you take yourself pretty like unseriously. Like there's a team that's called the Lizard League in your show, and then you're doing like the Invincible like cuts, and it's like oh boom, dead baby. It's like that's a little fucking crazy show. Like maybe like chill out a little bit. But I don't know. I mean, it didn't like fuck it. I'm not gonna like go on a Twitter rant about it, but like it's just kind of like it spoke to me of like oh this show is like kind of all over the place tonally. It's like we go from like super serious to like fucking Rex's talk or like robots like here I'm gonna give you a magic belt. It's really cool. Now you don't age, and it's gonna do science on the curse. It's like all right, dude, what the fuck is this scene?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Tonally, I think it's the same thing with all the plots where it's like we have 9 different plots and each of them have their own tone, and then they're kind of like randomly interjected in the episodes where it's a little like whiplashy. But I mean, I don't hate it. I just thought that was something I noted.
I agree with you on that. I felt like as funny as the title card editing was, yeah, it was weird because it's like, wasn't this supposed to be his big moment? And now like now I'm kind of like, haha, Invincible.
Right. Yeah, and they like say Invincible before that in the episode, I think. So like they waited for that scene to do the title card for the joke, I guess. But it's just like it was a weird place to put it, I think.
Yeah, Mikey, what do you think?
To both your points, I'll start with the Adam Eve question first. I don't know her. I agree. I don't think she's gonna die, but I do think that something will happen with her character. I love the idea of another Mark doing something to her. I think that could be really good. But I don't know. We'll see with that. But I definitely agree though. With it didn't fully take me out as far as the contrasting like tones throughout it, but I definitely did pick up on moments this episode where it would be like a super serious moment with I'm gonna keep forgetting his name. Powerplex. Thank you. Thank you so much. Sorry guys. What's it called? But there were super serious moments like that. And then it would just like immediately take you like, even kind of like go into like the bowling alley scene. Like not that that's like a harsh or bad thing necessarily, but those are like two contrasting sort of. I don't know. I see what you're saying with it. There was also another moment that in this episode specifically, as far as the tone that really to the baby point that I feel like was kind of crazy to see. They could have definitely. I mean, I get it. It's not like Invincible has shown kind of like
like horrible violence. I hear you. I'm just saying like it was a step of like yeah, this show's pretty fucking serious. Like we're gonna show you some crazy shit, and it didn't feel like earned. I think that's my problem with it. Like it was just like this weird kind of like out of nowhere of like whoa, dramatic imagery, and it's like you've done this, but in like here it feels like a little like you thought you were doing something more profound than you were doing. Yeah, and I was like, all right, guys, let's chill out a little fucking.
I agree because like and then like you like very well could have just like he looked back, like you got the sense of what happened, right? You know what I'm saying? So I agree 100%. It was different for sure. I don't know. Maybe we're going into a darker side of Invincible with these last 2 episodes in the next season. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully. I think they need to pick. Like, are we doing like street level fun, like comic book crime, or are we doing like Dead Baby, The Boys, violence every episode? You know, like these two tones are kind of fucking starting to clash for me. Where I'm like, I think we need to pick one here, guys. I'd prefer we do the crazy, like violent, this is getting serious thing because we've had 3 seasons of like, I am Toilet Man and I'm gonna flood the city. It's like, all right, cool. But like that, like the elephant in this episode. This episode starts with a guy called the Elephant, John DiMaggio, too, who I love that guy. And he's running around like, hey, I'm gonna steal the restaurant or whatever he's doing. Yeah. And then the episode ends with dead infant. So it's like, all right, like let's pick a lane. I feel like which one are we doing? Because this is a show that it's like you can't do both of those things. I think, but yeah. John
DiMaggio, he's Jake the dog, right?
Yes,
Jake the dog
and Bender, Futurama.
Oh yeah. I think it needs to pivot. That's the thing. I'm not that strongly opinionated on that particular element of the show as you are. But yeah, I do agree. I think it does need to pivot. Sometimes, comedic relief is good and it's all right. I do like that there's contrast and there's multiple different stories. It's just that a lot of them are not as interesting as Mark's.
Right.
So you and even Omni-Mans and stuff like that, the whole galactic side of things. Yeah, honestly, I don't really have many other thoughts. I think this episode, despite the minor flaws, was one of my favorite episodes of season 3. This is how you do a sympathetic, different villainous perspective, not the. I remember the montage of the couple who were. I don't know if it was on camera when you talked about that or if it was off camera, but you had a really funny opinion on that.
Oh, when I was talking about they saw the Last of Us episode. Yeah, it felt like they saw that episode of The Last of Us where they had the couple in that little town and they devoted a whole episode to it, and they watched that and they were like, "Oh, we could do that," and they gave this dumb little montage to these two characters that has no payoff and doesn't do anything, and it's they're sharing a can of beans. It's just super melodramatic and goofy.
Sure.
This episode, I agree with you. The thing they do with Powerplex here is what they thought they were doing with that scene 100 times better.
Yeah.
They devote the proper time to it. They give him character. There's dialogue. That helps when you're trying to develop a sympathetic character.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I am such a negative Nancy. This is a really good episode. I think this is one of the better ones of the season. I hark on flaws I have because I'm searching to be negative. But no, I like this episode. It's very good.
Yeah, I'm the same way, honestly, though. I really enjoyed it. Definitely one of the best. I loved the conclusion too. How he's a villain. He's gonna kill Mark eventually. He's so kind of lost now in his own mind. And I also want to quickly point out the animation. I liked how they played on the lighting of the electricity, and even the lighting in the garage, the parking lot. Just having a nice rim light on your subject can make the animation look so much better. And the animation as a whole too, character models were more consistent than last episode. So it looked really good this episode.
Yeah.
And it was a great episode. I'm excited to see more of Aaron Paul if Powerplex comes back.
Definitely.
Do you guys have any other last thoughts or?
I want to talk about the animation a little bit.
Oh yeah, let's go for it.
Because I agree with you. I think that I noticed that scene in the parking garage looks fantastic. Yeah. I think there's teams on these episodes that are doing different scenes because I kind of feel like it's still a little inconsistent. It wasn't as egregious this episode.
Yeah.
But there are some scenes there's one with what's his name? Debbie's boyfriend, Paul.
Oh, Paul.
There's a scene with Paul that's right after the parking garage where he's like, ah ha 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 ha. True. It's horrible. It looks fucking terrible. So I feel like they have different teams that are doing it, and some scenes look amazing, have lighting, it's silhouetted. It's it's zooming in, it's hyper realistic, and then there's other scenes where it just looks really shitty. But I think they're putting the attention in the right places, which is the thing that's most important. The electricity looks awesome. There's sunset scenes that look great when they're emotionally relevant. And it's just okay, we have a scene with Debbie's boyfriend and it doesn't look that great. Okay, great. If the fight scenes will look better, then go ahead. I don't need Paul in 60 FPS. Whatever.
Yeah. I get that. What about you, Mike? Do you have any last thoughts or?
I'll just, since everyone else did, the animation is beautiful. I agree to both your points. Invincible animation I feel has just always been it could be a little better. I love it. I think this is the best at times it's been, honestly. I'm still a fan of it, not to say. All right, such a weird comment, but I'll leave it at that.
All right, cool. Yeah, this was a great episode. This was our discussion of season 3, episode 6 of Invincible. Great. We're excited for the last two. we're going into the climax. We're going into the finale. So this should be exciting. If you liked our content, remember to like, subscribe. We have so many other podcasts. We're doing this weekly covering Invincible. So please subscribe and just keep up to date with everything we're putting out. And like everything we're putting out, similar content is all over our social medias down below. Check those out. And let us hear your thoughts in the comments section down below. We do reply to your comments. Start a discussion here. It has been Vinny Albano.
I've been Sean Villa. Thanks for watching, everybody.
And Michael Pedersen.
Have a good one.
This is The Culture.